Good morning. Oh, thank you. This is Paris in the AM. We are, apparently it's trash day, and we are out to what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get to the Pont Neuf to get a sunrise photo. Bonjour. Oh, pardon, je ne parle français. Alright, so this is my first day in Paris, and my attempt to catch the sunrise over the Seine on the Pont Neuf, the new bridge there in Paris that crosses over into the Ile de Cité, where Notre Dame is. Just to kind of, a couple logistical things to get off of my chest. First of all, I fumbled about and I didn't pack certain things that I should have packed, but just remember, kids, make a checklist of the things that you need to take, including your cameras, battery chargers. Let's make that at least the number 2 after the camera. I took my 2 cameras with me, my Lumix GH5 and my Lumix GX85 to Paris, micro four thirds cameras. I wanted small camera weights, and I can't tell you how happy that I did that instead of full frame cameras. The weight was perfect. I'm going to make a video as to what I took, because I am very happy with the quality that happened. And the 2 action cameras that I took are the DJI Osmo Action 3 and the Action 4. I love those cameras. I strap them onto my chest, generally just the shoulder strap on my bag, and let it fly, and it's good enough to get what I want to get. The other thing in Paris, I did a lot of walking. There's a lot of stairs, and I did make the mistake of carrying too many things at once with me. In this case, it was both cameras with the batteries and a couple of things, and it weighs on you. It doesn't end when you wake up, but throughout the course of the day, you start to really feel it in your shoulders, because that's where you're carrying stuff. I didn't carry a bag. I carry a DJ bag that I have converted into a camera bag that's just perfect, and I'll talk about that probably in another video. I highly recommend that instead of using a camera bag or camera backpack, especially if you're not using that many things. Now, if you're carrying long lenses for whatever it is, you go do your thing. You're gonna need ways to carry that. There are a lot of stairs in Paris, especially if you're climbing up and down metros. If you're going here and there, there's a lot of things to do, and you're gonna need some good walking shoes, man. And I'm glad that I did that. The other thing I recommend is that if you are prone to blisters, despite having great walking shoes / hiking shoes, look up these hikers that have methods of kind of taping up your feet so that you don't get any blisters. And that saved me a lot, because I do need to take care of my feet. One of the things about Paris, as this guy runs by, is that there are a lot of joggers and a lot of bike riders in Paris. You're going to need to look out for those people, because, hey, I think it's kind of universal that bike riders around the world are very, let's just say, very self-absorbed people. The one thing that I also want to mention here is I love how this part of Paris, it seems like they're late sleepers. There's absolutely no one here. This is about 6:30 in the morning when I get to this point. The thing that I didn't realize about Paris is that it's way higher north than I had imagined. I'm from Southern California, so the sun sets and rises at completely different times than it does in Paris, including, there's a late sunset. I mean, the sun was still out. So when we were in Mont Saint-Michel, it seemed like, which is in Normandy, the northern part of France, the sun was quote unquote kind of still out until like 9:55. There was still the rays. It looked like this at 9:55, basically. Two, I didn't realize again that the sun would be so late in getting up. And this particular spot here, I liked, but I didn't realize, one, that it was going to take a little longer than normal to get the sunrise picture. I do get some really nice color pictures. I wanted to get a time lapse, but there was just a couple of things that didn't make this happen as much as I wanted to. I ended up actually using this camera, the DJI Osmo, and clamping it onto the tripod and getting, I think, what would be a better time lapse visual than the cameras. It ended up being to where, I don't know, I didn't have the patience for it, and let's just put it that way. There was this spot right here. We end up moving to another spot down there, and I just didn't like this angle. I thought the sun was going to come up at a certain spot. I didn't like it, and then I kept moving down the bridge a little bit, and I found something that was a little bit more interesting.
Pretty early in the morning,
but I think that in Paris, there are going to be a lot better spots to see the sunrise than what happened here. And it's probably down at the other island. If you're looking straight ahead here, it's probably down that way a little bit more. And it was just a matter of me having to look for it and being able to be honest, to be able to have more time to figure it out, to find out where it's going to be. And I could have done it the next day. But there's so many things to do in Paris for a first timer that you wake up, and I try to wake up at dawn every single day to make the best out of it. And there's just so many things to do the first day. I'm just going to have to save it for another trip to Paris. And you really do have to be in Paris for about a week at a time. To be honest, a couple of notes on Paris. It's a place of extremes. It's extreme diversity. First of all, it is extreme diversity. There are a lot of different people in Paris. I've not experienced that amount of diversity ever. It really is a lot of cultures coming together in Paris, and you take a big note of that when you're on the metro. I rode the metro a lot. I love the metro. I love public transportation. It's so easy in Paris. You just need to really travel in Paris by public transportation to absorb a little bit more of it. The other thing about Paris is that it can be very inexpensive, or it could be very expensive depending on what it is that you're buying. You could really eat for like $8 a meal. You could get your sandwich and your soda or whatever your drink, your soda and your drink for under $10. Your jambon and your drink for $10. My breakfast was a cappuccino and my pain au chocolat. That's what I went to Paris to do, is eat pain au chocolat and croissants, and I succeeded. Yes, they are that good. I love them, and I suggest that you eat a lot of pastries in France. That's what they do. Baguettes, the bread there is amazing. Any type of food that you eat in France is amazing. That's the other thing. The restaurants are all reasonably priced. I didn't need cash the entire time I was in France. Everybody has, even some of the taxi drivers have, where we were in the northern part of, in Normandy, in the northern part of France, everyone carries a credit card machine with them. Every little store has a little credit card machine with them now. Even when we went to Mount Saint Michel, all the little shops have credit card machines. You don't need cash, except maybe in very rare instances where I can't even think right now what you would need cash for. I used only cards, and I didn't even take out cash. That's the thing. I was worried about having to take out cash at the ATM machine. I didn't need to. Not at one point did I ever say did I ever need it. So you don't need that in France, which is very nice. And the other extreme is just let me see what I talked about. In the prices. The extreme, the things that I thought were going to be cheap weren't really cheap. And of course, I went to like a convenience store. I didn't go into like their version of a supermarket, like a Walmart or anything like that, to buy shampoo and to buy soap and things like that and deodorant. I went to not necessarily a convenience store, but somewhere in between. And I thought that the shampoo and toothpaste were kind of expensive. I thought they were weirdly expensive. Everything else was really inexpensive. So including like restaurant food, to where, put it this way, this is one of the things. In McDonald's, I spent $15 for a meal, just a combo meal, which was crazy to me. For the same amount, for basically $20, you can get a cheeseburger at a decent restaurant that is 10 times better than McDonald's. Why did I go to McDonald's? Because I'm a moron. I was super hungry. I got off at the one of the metro stops, and I decided, man, let me just go get a burger real quick before I head on to, I was going towards the Sacré-Cœur, the Basilica, and I said, oh man, I'm starving. The McDonald's is right here. Let me just get a burger before I go. And I shouldn't have. I should have just kept going, because once I got to the bus, I took the bus up there. Once I got to the bus stop, there was so many good restaurants, and you look at the menu, and they are all so reasonably priced that I'm like, I am such a moron. I could have had better food at a better price than eating at McDonald's. So, in that sense, yes, the other extreme is the good food at a very reasonable price. So keep that in mind if you ever decide to go to Paris. I highly recommend it.
I think I gotta make a choice here, because one of the two things is gonna happen. Either we're gonna get let's take a look here. Either we're gonna get the sun shining right off of that building over there, or we're going to get some nice rays of light over here too. So I have to either be at this angle where I'm at, or go over there and take that angle, which is absolutely kind of crazy, but possibly worth it.
I had a dream when I was a kid. I actually studied French for a bunch of time, for a lot of years, and I did want to go to France for the longest time. And as I grew older, that little quote-unquote dream kind of faded out a little bit. I wasn't really interested in going to Paris as much anymore. I mean, it was like, man, if it happens, it happens. And it just so happened that it came up, and I went, and it was awesome. And this is, at one point you're like, I can't believe I'm on the Seine, and there's the Eiffel Tower sort of thing, but bad angle there, but I'm just too busy taking pictures on that. Don't worry, we're gonna move in a second here. I think I end up moving spots.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I don't think this is it. Let's do this. Shit, you know what I didn't do? We didn't.
All right, let me talk about a little bit about the gear that I'm using here. I'm getting ready to attach the DJI Action, one of the action cameras that I brought, and I'm going to attach it to the tripod just so that I can get a different time lapse or different sort of look, which I think I ended up liking, and we'll see that in a second. I'm just going to color grade it and make it look cool for video's sake. Let me talk about the gear that I took here. So I mentioned that I took the GX85 and the GH5, both microphone for the trip, both Micro Four Thirds cameras,
right there.
and I loved it. The weight factor was a big deal. I ended up taking the 9mm on the 9mm Lumix lens f1.7 and the 1.7 24mm lens. Amazing. I did actually take a manual lens as well, a 28mm Tokina f2.8 manual lens that I've adapted with the adapter to put on Micro Four Thirds. I didn't get to use that as much. I wanted to use that for the time lapse, but I was sort of in a just overall kind of flustered.
Obviously, doing this is I might miss the shot. I mean, this is some nice colors. I'm gonna try to walk over there to see if I should just reset the time lapse, because I am getting kind of like, oh, this is the wrong shot. I don't know. My problem is I don't know how. Yeah, dude, I think the shot is from over there. Even though that looks gorgeous, we've got some shots here, so no need for time lapse. But I am gonna go.
The shots that we ended up taking on the other one end up being a little better, and those are going to go up in a second. But yeah, that's the gear that I took, and the 9mm lens, it's equivalent to ends up like an 18mm in full frame, and it's gorgeous. I love that point field of view. I love the overall. It works so well for my photography, my quote-unquote street photography, the way that I see it. That's my lens, and I never shot with the 50mm lens or equivalent to 24mm lens at all. It just ends up the 18mm version, the 9mm 3 Micro Four Thirds is my lens, and it's beautiful, it's sharp, it's incredible. It worked really well in low light when we were in the catacombs, and I'll do a video about that as well.
I'm gonna hog up this bench. Right about there. So this side.
I end up being really smart, quote unquote, in setting up my tripod on the bench, so I get a little bit closer to the edge of it. And as you can see, I have the action camera. Well, I don't know if you can see or not, but the action camera is clamped onto that tripod, and it's very steady.
Basic, very.
And let me put in the time lapse on that right now, because I think it's going to look pretty cool.
Let them not come out. Let's do the opposite. And let's do this. Let's stop the...
Yeah, so I do end up fumbling about with the camera and the time lapse on the smaller of the two cameras. But I did end up taking in hand holding while the time lapse is going on the GX85. On the GH5, I end up hand holding those, and that has a 50mm lens on it. And I do end up taking a bunch of pictures with that one, a few pictures that I liked on it. And of course, you saw the time lapse that I morphed the colors on it just to give it a dreamlike sort of sequence. I don't know, I got crazy on it, whatever.
Or navigation apps where it is now 7:19 in the morning, and we are getting really nice colors on the river.
But yeah, hold on. Let me show you the pictures that I did take for the with the GH5 50mm.
3 stops is my go-to. So yeah, that's what we need right there. 3 shots under on that, pretty basic. We'll let that go for a bit. Maybe right there. Give it a 2 2/3 stop. See, this is the part where I should have my coffee and my cream, or my coffee and
the thing is, I kind of practice with the tripod, with the time lapse, and it's really just funny how I kind of fumbled a little bit. But to be honest, there's a couple of things here that I kind of want to point out. Is that one? It's not cold, but it's chilly in the morning there. I ended up buying a vest that paid for itself the first day. It had a lot of pockets. I was very worried about pickpockets in Paris. That was the thing that everybody was kind of talking about. And the other thing was people trying to sell you stuff by putting things on you, bracelets or rings or something like that. And I did encounter that at Sacré-Cœur, and it was a little bit awkward to where, they don't accept no for an answer. And the situation I was in was where they tried to gang up on me, but as soon as they saw my little action camera basically strapped to my chest, they backed off and they go, "Oh, he's got a camera, we're gonna back off," and they did.
The scene is really the colors on the river, in my opinion. See, there's even right back in here, right back in there, there's that little tinge of magic.
But it was very, just like, you almost have to be rude to where, like, hey man, I don't want that sort of thing. But anyway, I was more or less, I practiced my my tripod etiquette, or my tripod putting up, bringing down. I changed my ball head. Everything was good.
Truth be told, I'm not sure I'm getting what I need to get from the time lapse. At the point, I'm not using the time lapse for time lapse sake, even though I guess I could.
And it's funny because I got to this point and I ended up kind of getting a little flustered at game time. I fumbled, I dropped the ball, but it did end up being a situation where, like, you know what? In a weird sense, it kind of worked out for me to where I need to restructure how it is that I set this up in the future. And the other thing is this, it's almost like you're wasting time, because you got to sit there. And to be honest, if you do a time lapse on a camera or on anything, you need at least half an hour, I think, so that you can set up and set down and break down. And the time in between, it really is the half an hour to just sit there and do nothing. And it sucks when you're sitting there and don't have your coffee. It's dawn, and you're trying to get something going. And it is a little frustrating to where, like, man, I should be doing something, like reading a book or sitting on a lawn chair or something like that. And those are the little things that I didn't really think about. I didn't pan out. I didn't have the foresight to say, you know what? Because all the other time lapses I was doing before were in a sort of, we're not at dawn. I was not hungry. I have had my coffee. I had something to drink with me. I had somewhere to sit down, and this is actually a bench. I can sit there, but it's not comfortable. Again, it's kind of chilly. And these are the little details that people don't tell you about when they go do their time lapses and all these videos, to where, like, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. And the only real time lapse I think that I wanted to get that I didn't fully achieve was setting up at a cafe, having my little camera on a tripod next to me as I drink, do something, and then just compose my shot, and then just let the camera run the entire time I'm sitting there having my coffee or having my drink and my sandwich or something like that as the world walks by, and have a sort of quote-unquote street photography time-lapse situation going on there. And that would have been very interesting. There are a lot of places in Paris and these cafes where you can sit there and do your thing and have nobody bother you. It's almost kind of strange how people are okay with the camera at all time. Nobody gives you looks. Nobody gives you, like, what is this guy doing? It's obviously the guy is a tourist, I think, situation. But what the GX85 did, which is a small compact version of, well, no, I think it's about the same size as your rangefinder style, like those Sony A1s, A7s, not A7s. I don't know my Sony models, but when I was looking into this more of a rangefinder, the A6s, those were very comparable in size to what the GX85 did. At the end of the day, I already had I had the GH5, which it's in and of itself is very easy to lug around. It compared to my full frame cameras, it's lighter and it's a great camera for street photography. I have the back button focus thing, and it is really, and paired up with that 9mm / 18mm equivalent, it's a gorgeous setup. And I took a lot of pictures with that as well. And to be honest, I probably should have taken more pictures, but the pictures I took with the GX85 is exactly what I wanted. It is the form factor I wanted, the way that I lugged stuff around, the way that I did things. I was very happy with that because it allowed me freedom to where it wasn't cumbersome. The only problems that I have with the GX85, I'm going to figure out. There's workarounds, and it's just not knowing everything the camera can do and all the custom features that I needed to do. But I will have that figured out, and it will be an amazing camera overall. Again, this is what the kids call the everyday carry. It's extremely sharp. And this thing where, it's not low light this, low light that, I don't know, man. I shot with it in the catacombs. I'm looking at it. There's very little noise in there that bothers me. It is what it is, and I'm going to use, and you'll see that in the other videos that I do. But right here, I think it's pretty much a done deal. I end up going to see the street on the right hand side there, where all the cars are on the right hand side. I end up walking down that street, and Notre Dame is behind those buildings over there, and that's where we end up going. But this is where I'm going to end this one right here. I don't have a final shot somewhere I do for this, but this is it. Thank you for checking out this video and the other videos. There will be more photography. Just the last point. Yes, I did take about, I would say, close to 100 photographs this entire time that we're talking here, as far as the time lapses, the handheld with the GH5. At the end of the day, I was so looking for the right exposure that there's just too many. I just have to go back, and there's a lot of work to be done for the time lapses. I just love the still photography that I got. I love this this video shot that I have, and we're probably just gonna end it here with the final time lapse on this one right here. Just have something cool. All right, thank you so much for listening, and enjoy your youth.